As WWE never fails to remind us, their business is at an all-time high right now after successful transfer of power from the McMahon times to the Triple H times, and their new ownership in TKO is keen on making back the billions they've invested in buying WWE. They now own companies like the Lucha Libre League of AAA. They're running shows in attempts to maybe squash the threat of All Elite Wrestling with counter-programming events. They are rolling in the do-re-mi, and they are, despite their detractors, very successful right now. They can't stop gaining popularity and increasing their profit margins. They are in an unstoppable juggernaut level right now under the banner of the TKO Group, the company that owns them and is responsible for overseeing the WWE operations day to day. With a lot of outside factors beyond the wrestling world playing into it, there are many things that frustrate the common wrestling fan who have been riding with WWE before TKO took over and since TKO has settled in as the rulers of the wrestling world. You're watching Sportskeeda Wrestling, and today we're taking a look at the TKO moves that are upsetting WWE fans. But before we go any further, hit the subscribe button. Yeah, hit it, come on. Get us to 200K on the sub count and click that little bell icon. Turn it on so you know you get notifications whenever we drop brand new videos. We would be very grateful. So let's get into it. So from a financial perspective, WWE is doing as well as they've ever done. As we made note of at the top of the video, they are by far the richest company they've ever been in a long history with big stadium crowds, massive attention, and a high consumption rate of their content across multiple platforms. And they're only getting bigger. They've got all the biggest names in the industry, all of the attention, and if you're WWE right now or someone who works for WWE or someone who owns stock in WWE, then you're probably very happy about all of this. But if you're someone who watches WWE or you're someone who's just enjoyed it for a very long time, you might not have the exact same feeling. And a lot of that has to do with the latest media rights deal that WWE has secured with ESPN for all of their future premium live events. The deal, rumored to be worth around $1.6 billion, was struck between the TKO Group, which oversees WWE, and ESPN's parent company, Disney, and it is said to last around 5 years. This will apparently see a $30 monthly charge introduced to access WWE's premium live events in the United States, on top of the $10 a month or so, depending on what tier you have on your Netflix subscription for Raw, and the monthly $50 cable bill for watching SmackDown and NXT. Then there's the $11 monthly charge for Peacock, depending on the tier you have, and the classic content library that's there, along with Saturday night's main event and NXT premium live events, which is around $100 a month if you wanted to watch everything WWE puts out. That's $1,200 a year by some estimations, depending on what cable TV service you may or may not have, just to watch wrestling on TV, most of which was available on the WWE Network when it was introduced years ago for just $10 a month. Now, some of you are saying that's not really fair, but hey, WWE has offered billions and billions for their streaming rights. They're a business. They're going to take the money every single time because they're a business. Don't worry, we'll say that again. Die-hard wrestling fans who can't afford it are likely to still pay, and it does offer a more casual audience the chance to add more WWE programming to their weekly schedule, especially when you see WWE events now packaged next to major sports leagues on the ESPN app. But if you're someone who likes to keep up to date with everything, you better be ready to pay for it, or just watch the highlights on YouTube or Instagram. For the lovers of old school WWE, to their credit, WWE has launched the WWE Vault YouTube channel, which has a lot of those classic events. They even launched the WCW Vault channel on YouTube. The fan backlash, though, is quite loud when it comes to TKO's handling of ticketing for WWE's major events and TV tapings. These events were never cheap to attend to begin with, but with a higher demand recently, not everyone is going to be happy about what they see when they go to buy tickets. And someone has to be blamed, right? You could always be prepared to part with a cool $100 to get into a SmackDown or a Raw, especially if you wanted a good seat and a good view. Yet higher demand for tickets drives up the market, and TKO is in the business of benefiting from a higher demand. Let's get into the numbers that we can find. This is subjective, so don't treat this as a be-all, end-all of what WWE live event tickets are like overall. It's just a current look at things. A recent news report from Birmingham in the UK claims that WWE were charging up to 500 English pounds, around 675 US dollars for some tickets, though they started around 324 pounds, which is around $435 in the US, with ticketing companies using dynamic pricing across all major events, especially the ones with a higher demand. Fans want to go, the prices go up, and TKO rides with this because they have to work with these partners. You can't blame them, but that's where things are, which is still pretty ridiculous considering that some people say, I don't want to go to this show, or I gotta go to this show, or what are they gonna offer me at this moment? So, does that demand with dynamic pricing meet what you're going to actually get in the ring? Not exactly. That's without mentioning big events like WrestleMania. And there's a lot of rumors circling around online about the ridiculous prices for front row seats and VIP packages. But regular tickets have also seen a crazy price hike in the TKO era. Inflation and higher demand play a hard factor, but when things go up, resentment can grow. This was discussed in a recent article for Yahoo Sports, noting that while an average ticket price used to be around $500 dues, in 2025, the average WrestleMania ticket price set WWE fans back $1,200 dues, which is bound to happen as WWE now presents Mania as a 2-day all-weekend mega show. Yet fans won't really factor that hard number into what it actually is or how it got there. Yeah, they're not doing the Scott Steiner math here. Some reports and rumors indicate that prices may switch back to a more reasonable number eventually. But for now, the vocal online die-hard WWE fans feel possibly priced out in favor of wealthy, casual fans with more money to spend. Other sports like the NFL have felt the same blowback within their fan culture. Some loyal wrestling fans that I've spoken to feel like they are victims of WWE's now expanding audience. That includes more people. Yeah, because it's cool to like WWE in the mainstream again. Or so we're told, and that cool factor has brought new fans, new money, new prices to accommodate an expanded demand. That's another word we keep going back to. And this is what it is, appealing to a wider, casual audience. It doesn't matter to WWE if this audience watches every show every week. If they want to see screaming fans in full stadiums and empty merch boxes at the end of an event, because of this, it's a business. It's a business with a higher demand. Those two words we keep going back to. Those are not the only TKO moves that are ruining WWE in the eyes of some, aside from the fact that they're actually hosting a real-life event called WrestlePalooza. No doubt featuring Homer Simpson getting shot in the stomach by a cannon in the main event. Nice job, Cannonball. The name was originally used by ECW, which is within the WWE umbrella of things they own, but the trolls online want to troll it. WWE WrestlePalooza will go down September 20th from Indianapolis, Indiana, with John Cena competing in the last gallop of his farewell tour. Another questionable call by TKO is their desire to buy up or partner up with as much competition as possible. Can you blame WWE for doing this? But a lot of people will be critical of it. They own AAA, as we mentioned, one of the top Lucha Libre promotions in the world, announced during WrestleMania weekend, and they continue to work and do a talent sharing agreement, TNA Wrestling, which has many people speculating that WWE could completely buy out the former Impact Wrestling promotion at some point. That's the biggest promotion in Mexico in AAA, and the third biggest promotion in the United States in TNA, either owned or working directly with WWE. Essentially, WWE might be creating its own internal territory system. Who knows, maybe they'll expand this idea into Japan or the United Kingdom, or buy a big promotion up in these countries. Make the whole local globalization thing that Triple H reportedly talked about years ago into a reality, and turn the whole wrestling world into WWE developmental. Yeah, the people that already don't like WWE don't like hearing that. Is this healthy for the pro wrestling industry overall? That is a fair question to ask, and an angry war cry for anyone still mad that WWE bought out WCW and ECW. Buying up or partnering up with a lot of their competition in the past has famously led to some questionable things within WWE's more stagnant years, despite the purchases always making great financial sense at the time. But if people don't like what they're putting out, they don't have any other options or limited options. Maybe they just stop watching wrestling overall. And WWE doesn't want or need that either. There is always the option of all elite wrestling, well-financed and has some big names and easily accessible on a lot of different platforms. AEW may have benefited from this when they launched in 2019 with some discontent within the WWE fandom, and they grew an audience out of that. Now, will those same dissatisfied fans in the WWE sect jump over to AEW? If they don't, and they don't watch wrestling, that's not good for AEW either. Plus, there needs to be competition for wrestling talents released by WWE or never signed by WWE, so they can work and earn a living for themselves and their families. It is a lot of upheaval when you look at it. Which brings us to our next point, which is that TKO continues, as WWE has often been criticized of, maybe not giving talents who get over on their own with the audience what they deserve. A long-term critique of WWE in general. This was one of the main critiques of Vince McMahon's WWE, not giving those talents within the system what they deserve in their efforts in the eyes of very vocal, dedicated, watching week-to-week fans who want to see more of those characters on TV instead of them being, labeled with an embarrassing gimmick. This is all speculation, not a wrestling apocalypse prediction. Because although the audience is here now and has expanded, they might run off again someday. Maybe not soon, maybe someday, but that's when you need your long-time, hardcore, loyal fan base that's always been there. They've always been wrestling fans. You need to keep them always a wrestling fan. And if you've priced some of them out by jacking up your price with the circumstances you're in and splitting your content between multiple platforms, while also giving them content in their eyes that signifies some varying quality, while also buying up the alternative wrestling promotions, well, you might just have a recipe for doom if the worst does happen. But hey, we're just here being negative. Because isn't that what you're supposed to do in the wrestling internet? Because maybe this is just who WWE is circumstantially. Maybe not every problem was created by the last administration. It's not all gloom and doom. WWE under TKO has improved the widespread perspective of pro wrestling as a genre within the greater sense of the media world outside of it. It is not perceived as a carny white trash circus sideshow anymore when Disney wants to spend billions to get WWE premium live events on the ESPN app. If WWE does well, that is good for pro wrestling overall. Don't forget that. Trickle-down economics may not be fair, but the trickle down from WWE is still going to trickle down. This could also be the nature of the business world itself. When profit comes first, everything else becomes secondary. WWE will keep in mind how they make their profit and what really keeps them going and what keeps their show going. It's the fans. And maybe that's another deep dive for another video. Do you agree? Are TKO's moves ruining WWE for fans? Is WrestleMania gonna be on the moon next? Yeah! Will you pay for the tickets for WrestleMania on the moon? Yeah, it could go there. Who knows at this point? Yeah, like, share, subscribe to Sportskeeda Wrestling for more content just like this. Also, dive deep into our library. We have a lot of other videos diving into current and classic topics of everything pro wrestling. Don't forget to ring that bell so you never miss a video just like this. You've been watching Sportskeeda Wrestling, and we'll see you on the next one.